In a perfect world, you would love to get all the best residents, the easiest families, and everything in between, right? You want to just have the perfect home and everyone gets along great. But from time to time, you will get residents and you will get families who give you guys a hard time and who don't abide by your guys' rules. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to deal with those types of people. What's up, everyone? I hope you guys are all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Serge. Welcome to the channel. To all my reoccurring viewers, guys, thank you so much for all the love and support. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I actually created a Facebook group called Legion Assisted Living Academy. So go ahead, go request yourselves, answer the 3 questions prior to requesting yourselves into the group, and I will go ahead and take a look over those questions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the topic of this video. From time to time, you guys will come across residents who aren't cooperating and who aren't listening to you guys and aren't abiding by the rules, and that goes the same for the families, right? I've had residents that have come into the home who would blast their TV full volume, being disruptive, talking really loud on the phone, doing all kinds of things that were disrupting the other residents, even family members and who were visiting, and also vice versa with the families. I'd have family members come past the visiting hours, right? Some of them would not message me or get my approval prior to them coming to the home, because that's what I do tell them. If they want to come after hours because they have to work and want to come by once visiting hours are over, they just need to shoot me a text or give me a call and I will approve it depending on the situation that's at the home. So with that being said, guys, how do you deal with family members who aren't being compliant with your guys' rules? How do you deal with the residents that aren't complying with your guys' rules either, and they're being disruptive to other residents and family members? So the first thing that you guys want to do when it comes to the resident themselves, I do go by the 3-strike rule, right? So first strike is a warning. I'm like, hey, listen, this is the deal. You can't do that. We don't allow that. If that's the case and they do listen, then great. And you see that they're improving on the fact that they're listening to you and they're abiding by the rules. If it continues to happen and I go in there the second time and I tell them the same thing, I say, listen, I give them a second warning, and I tell them that they have one chance left, 1 strike left, okay? And then from there, I will then tell them, listen, if you guys can't abide by the rules, listen, there is a contract in place that says that you will abide by the rules of the home. That's why it's very important to have a contract in place with the resident and the families, and they are signing off saying that they're going to abide by all the rules. And if they're not going to, you have every right to give them a 30-day notice and have them leave. Now, with that being said, that leaves you open for a vacancy, right? So the last thing you want to do is have an open bed and have a vacancy. So you don't want to just kick someone out, or not kick them out, because that's an improper word to use. You don't want to discharge a resident if, just because there's little things that they're doing that aren't convenient to the other residents. Keep in mind, guys, the reason why that's important to keep in mind the other residents is because they could put a 30-day notice because of that other resident. So you have to be very careful, and it's a very fine line of, you want to make sure you respect everybody and you do your best to make it work. So depending on if it's like a semi-private room, okay, and one of the residents likes to go to sleep early and the other resident likes to watch TV, right? That's not going to be a good fit. And it's not that the other resident is doing anything wrong by going to sleep early or by, wanting to watch TV all night, right? They're not doing anything wrong. That's up to them if they want to do that. But you want to make sure you put them with the right roommates, and you want to make sure that they're not, impeding on the other person's privacy or, just their quality of life. So if you need to move someone into a private room, if you have that available, then you should probably do that. The person that's probably staying up, all night watching TV is probably better off in a private. Now you got to be careful there too, because you have to take in consideration what they're paying. So if one resident is paying more and they're in a semi-private with this other resident who's paying just a little bit less, you want to make sure you move the resident who's paying more into the private. Maybe it's not the amount that you wish you could get out of the private room because it is a private, but if it's going to resolve the situation and it's going to resolve the fact that a resident is not going to leave, then that's pretty much your only option, is to get them moved into a different room. Now, with that being said, that's just one solution to a problem like that. And guys, keep in mind, assisted living is not a perfect world, and it won't be. You're constantly going to put out fires. There's going to be times where things are going real smooth. There's going to be times where you're in over your head with all kinds of problems going on, whether it's having surveys, residents passing away, residents being discharged, families complaining. Guys, it's not as great as it all may seem. From a surface level, it looks great because it's a great business model. But in all reality, I'm not here to scare you guys. I just want to keep it real with you that it's going to require more than just you guys showing up at the home and dropping off some groceries or checking in on your residents, okay? Because you're constantly putting out fires, like I said. And not constantly, but a good portion of the time you will be. Family members, on the other hand, are another thing, right? Family members may be complaining about food. They may be complaining about cleanliness. They may be complaining about the caregivers. They may be complaining about you even, right? And you got to be careful because there's a difference between someone actually coming to you with a real complaint and a real concern versus someone who's just, they have that type of personality where you can't satisfy them at any cost. Okay, so you have to know how to read people, and that is a very important part of this business, because if you're going to constantly be offended by a family member saying, oh, you're not that great of a care homeowner, or you guys aren't doing a good job here, don't take that as a terrible thing. Don't get offended by that. Actually take a step back, take what they're saying in consideration. Ask them some more questions. Why is it that you think that, right? What is it that we could do better? And if they actually give you really good criticism and they really say, hey, this is where you guys can improve, then by all means, that's great. You should actually consider that. Now, if a family member is like, oh, no, you guys are just, they're not really giving you guys real criticism on your business and how you're taking care of their loved one, then you got to be careful and, not engage too much and not be too offended by the fact that they aren't liking your home or they're not liking your staff or your overall performance as a business owner, okay? Because what's going to happen is you guys got to keep in mind that this business is stressful as it is. There's no business where it's not stressful. There's always problems and there's always solutions. It's, the yin and yang thing, right? It's not always black and white, okay? And this business will never be black and white. And so with that being said, you guys got to make sure you keep a level head and keep your head above waters when situations occur, because make sure that you do talk to people and you do handle situations calmly. Do not let your feelings and emotions get the best of you. When residents are cussing at you, which happens, and it has happened to me, when you're being told that you're not the best because a family member just doesn't get along with you for whatever reason, it may be a personality thing or it may be the fact that they just don't get along with you, right? That's going to happen, but you are in full control of who you allow in your home and who you don't allow in your home. So if a family member is being like that and you guys just can't seem to get along, it's probably best that you guys come to an agreement that their loved one needs to be moved out if they're going to continue down that route. There could be two situations, right, where the resident is really nice or really mean, right? So if the resident's really nice but the family's really mean, you got to keep in mind what's going on there. If they're not there all the time and you're able to just get by and not bother them with anything and everything is handled, then don't worry about discharging the resident. But if the family's really nice and the resident is really mean, you have full control and full power to say, listen, your loved one is not cooperating and abiding by our rules. We're going to have to give you guys a 30-day, discharge, and you guys will have to leave the facility due to these factors. And there has to be certain factors. You can't just say that, oh, they're not being nice. There has to be a lot of evidence and a lot of reasons to actually move the resident out. You can't just say because they're being mean, so you can just give a 30-day notice though. But with that being said, it's a very interesting factor that I don't think a lot of people talk about in assisted living. They don't talk about the dynamics of the families and the residents. And that is something I want to touch on and make sure that you guys are aware of when you guys are starting out your own homes, okay? You guys aren't always going to get the most perfect residents. You guys are not going to get the most perfect family. And when you do, make sure that you appreciate them and you do everything in your power to take care of them. Not only the resident, but the family. If the families are treating you good, the resident is cooperative and really nice, that is the ideal situation that you want to be in. You don't want to be in the situation where you're constantly going back and forth and you're losing sleep over, over the most ridiculous things, okay? Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, okay? Make sure that you guys keep yourselves calm and collective, and overall, you guys will have a successful business. I've had terrible placements. I've had residents who have cussed me out, told me all kinds of things. I've had family members who weren't the best either. I'm sure you guys, if you've been following me and watching a couple of my videos, I'm sure you guys came across a video where I've had terrible family members come in and cause all kinds of situations and things, okay? So I like to share my experiences because it gives you guys a realistic aspect to the business and what to expect from the business model. If you guys stuck all the way to the end of the video, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you guys. If you haven't yet, make sure to hit that like button. Also, make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button and go request yourselves into the Facebook group that I've created called Legion Assisted Living Academy. I will link it down below. Also, go make sure to watch all these other videos. They're great, informative videos for you guys. So, guys, thank you. Again, I appreciate you all, and I will see you all in the next video. God bless. Peace.